challenges in running a metropolitan municipality are not only prevalent here in South Africa. For a different reason, the Birmingham City Council in the UK has declared itself basically bankrupt. This declaration allows Britain's second biggest city to suspend all non-essential spending. Well, how come has this happened? What does it all mean? Our London correspondent, Julia Chapman, joining us now on Today this afternoon. Julia, welcome to Today and thank you very much for your time. Well, I never thought I'll read a headline of the big European city declaring it bankrupt. What's happening in Birmingham City?
Well, amazingly, this isn't the first instance of this happening here in the UK. Birmingham is, in fact, the 7th council in England and Wales to effectively declare bankruptcy since 2020. And in this particular case, there are a number of factors involved. One of the biggest ones, according to council leaders, is that there have been these historical equal pay claims that have been brought against the council that it has had to meet. It has had to make compensation payments to hundreds of women who were employed by the council and didn't receive bonuses for jobs that they had done, unlike men who were doing roles in typically male-dominated fields like garbage collection. These were women working as cleaners or caterers, and they didn't get the same kind of bonuses. So the unions took the council to court and won, and effectively that has meant there have been millions of pounds in payouts over the years. They have been slowly paying back those compensation claims. Now, Birmingham's not the only council to have that problem, but it is, as you say, the second biggest city in the country. It also hosted the Commonwealth Games last year, and so that was a big drain on the city's finances, although of course it did earn a lot of revenue for the city as well. But critics say essentially what is happening here is that a number of councils around the country simply cannot afford to pay the bills. They are not being given enough funding by central government to make up for the fact that prices are going up, and it's difficult to make that balance sheet add up.
Is this a red flag about failures of local government in the UK?
Well, critics would argue that it's a much bigger picture than that, but of course every council is responsible for its own budgets. It cannot have as much as widespread earning potential as many of them would like. A lot of that is restricted by central government, which provides the funding. There are limited revenue streams for a local council, but undoubtedly there will be criticism as well as to the handling of the finances in Birmingham. This particular compensation claim, dating back many years now, is certainly an oversight by those who were running the council at the time. And now this is a Labour-run council. The opposition party is in charge in Birmingham, but it is far from the only city that has found itself in this predicament. Others have been run by the ruling Conservative Party as well. So this isn't really a matter of party politics. But then again, critics are saying austerity is a really big part of why this has happened.
Has national government said anything? I mean, I know this is a different sphere. Here in South Africa, we've got local government, municipalities, metros, and then you've got districts and provinces. Then you end up with a national setup. For example, has the Prime Minister had anything to say, or he can't get involved at all?
Well, he has criticised the local council for mismanagement, and he has defended his ruling Conservative Party's approach to the country's public finances over the years. His predecessors have been in charge of a very long period of austerity in this country, which they insist has been necessary to prevent the country from going bankrupt altogether and defaulting on its debts. So there are, of course, differing opinions as to what extent that has been necessary, but it's certainly been defended by Rishi Sunak, who, of course, was himself the finance minister before he became prime minister and took the helm of the country. He has seen more public spending than some of his predecessors, particularly under the David Cameron government. But certainly his belief is that this is not the fault of central government. It was a local issue and one that has been managed poorly.
Okay, finally, Julia, it's a bankrupt council, the second largest city in the UK. That's affecting its finances because of these equal pay claims dating years back. On the ground, in terms of services, I mean, they are a city council after all. They have to deliver services to the city. Is it business as usual?
Well, most of the essential services are expected to be unaffected. There are certain provisions that the council has to by law fulfill, including things like education, social care, removing bins, as well as maintaining roads. All of that is expected to continue. What the council says is it's going to have to stop carrying out non-essential services. Now, it hasn't specified what those might look like, but some are speculating it could involve things like the Christmas market, arguably not the most important event on the calendar, but one that does certainly bring in funds for local businesses who will be disappointed if that doesn't go ahead. But undoubtedly, most of the provisions will be maintained, according to the Birmingham City Council. But they say that their shortfall in funding over the next year is about £87 billion, which is expected to almost double the year after, according to current forecasts. And forecasters say that is not a unique situation, that all around England and Wales, there's expected to be roughly a £2 billion shortfall in funding this year, roughly 2.5 billion US dollars, meaning that there are simply many discrepancies between how much money councils are bringing in and how much money they need to provide the services on offer.
Julia Chapman from London, thank you very much for updating us about really what's happening in Birmingham, Britain's second largest city, declaring bankruptcy recently and now having to suspend what it calls non-essential spending in the next coming months as they deal with a huge bill. I think it's about $950 million US dollars in terms of equal pay. They didn't pay bonuses to women in the past that they were paying to men who were working at the council. What a lot of discrimination there. Now they are paying for it.